Before we get started with the review, I thought I'd share with you, Okmo just reached out to me, and in an effort to help those who went through Hurricane Ida and anyone who has a potential to go through any of these disasters, are offering for this week only, so we're talking about Labor Day, 9/6, all the way through the rest of the week, a $300 coupon off of the 1,000 watt and also the 2,000 watt power stations. They do have solar panels. They're offering $40 coupon for that, but I thought I'd share that with you right up front before we get started, that in an effort to help relieve some of these people that have no power, this would come in handy. So if you know someone who needs one, pick one up, send it to them, or keep one for yourself. But $300 off for this week only, and check it out. It's on Amazon. The link is in the description below, and I think we can do our part to help some people get some more power. So anyway, thought I'd share that with you. Now let's do the review. This is the Okmo 1,000 watt portable power station. Let's get it out of the box, charge it up, and run it through its paces. Alright, out of the box, first thing you're going to receive is your power cord. You're going to receive an AC adapter and a 12-volt adapter for your van or your car, and you're going to have a user guide to let you know how to operate this thing. So whether you're in an area where you suffer from power outages, or you need some power when you're out boondocking, camping, van lifing, in any situation you're going to need power. So this is the Okmo 1,000 watt portable power station, and we're going to go ahead and plug this in, charge it up, and just see what this thing can do. Out of the box, let's just see if it has any power. Sweet. So it has 3 bars, so we're going to go ahead and power this thing up, and once we get it powered up, then we're going to start plugging in some appliances and run it through its paces. Alright, a little bit about this thing. So this is probably what I would call a little bit of a budget 1,000 watt power station. However, just so you know right up front, it's not cheap. This thing runs around 800 bucks, but for a 1,000 watt unit, I think it's a pretty good deal. Generally, these power stations run about $1 a watt, so you figure, you know, Blue Eddy or Jackery, you're looking at about 1,000 bucks, up to 11, maybe $1,200 for a 1,000 watt power station. So I think you're getting a pretty good deal with this Okmo. So going over some of the specs here, you do have 10 outlet ports here on the front, your AC, your DC, and there's nothing to plug in on the sides or on the back. Everything is conveniently located here on the front. You have your AC output here on this side, you have your DC in, and you have your solar charge Anderson plugs right here. You do have USB-Cs and your standard USBs. You have your 5.5 millimeter 12 volt barrel adapters, and you also have your convenient 12 volt adapter cigarette lighter. So the AC output is a cumulative 1,000 watts. So if you plug something in here that takes 1,000 watts and you plug something in here that takes 1,000 watts, it's not going to work. So, you know, if you have 3 items, the max is going to be about 300 watts for each outlet. So just keep that in mind. When charging for your DC in, it's capable up to about 100 watts, and when you are charging with your solar panels, max is 200 watts. You have your USB outlets, 5 volts, about 2.1 amps, and then you have your USB-C 60 watts, and then you have your 12 volt which are capable of about 8 amps, and as well as your adapter. So this 1000-watt unit has a battery capacity of about 1110 watt hours. It's rated about 1000 watts, 2000 watts peak. I will try to put that to the test. The battery type, they indicate it's a high quality, but no name brand, so high quality lithium ion batteries. So that's, if you're wondering what's charging that. The output is pure sine wave, and the whole unit weighs about 24 pounds. So that'll be enough for our specs. That's what we need to know to get this thing operated. So let's get out some appliances, plug this thing in, and see what we can do with it. Alright, so we have some devices out here that we're going to attempt to charge or run off of our 1000 watt power station. And I've got my Osmo Mobile USB. I have my phone with a USB charger. I also have my 12 volt cooler, which will use the DC adapter, and a fan that we'll plug in and turn on. And then we'll also do the coffee pot. It's all ready to go. We just need to heat the water up and pour ourselves a cup of coffee. Now the only thing that's kind of lacking on this power station is the ability to see how much power is coming in and how much power is coming out. But to overcome that, we do have a kilowatt meter here that we can check out to see how many watts is pulling. We'll use that on the coffee pot because I have a feeling that is going to be drawing the most power. So we'll go ahead and power the unit up. We'll get things plugged in and make sure everything's charging and running. Then we'll set up the kilowatt, plug in the coffee maker, turn it on, and make ourselves a cup of coffee. So to turn the power on, there's a button right here for the power. Turn that on, and then on the USB and the DC outputs, there's also a couple of on buttons. So for the USB, we'll turn that on, and as soon as we plug one of these in, it registers which output we're on. So we're on the out 2, and then for our Osmo, we will plug that in, and that is charging. So let's go ahead and plug in our fan. We'll turn on our AC. Fan's kicked here on the side, so it's a little warm in here, and now they cut off, so we're good to go. So let's turn the fan on. Turn that on high. Alright, that's working pretty good. So now we'll plug in our kilowatt. Make sure we're set up right. Right now it's reading 0. I'll give you a shot of that once we turn that coffee pot on. So we'll go ahead and plug in our coffee pot. Alright, well, let me set the camera over here so you can see what's going on. We'll turn the coffee pot on, get it heated up. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and hit the on button for the coffee pot. And so we're getting a little bit of a reading here. And that's killing out some watts right here. It's like about 1170, 80, about 1185 watts. Let's see what else we got going here. Drawing about 10.76 amps. And our volts are about 110. Alright, so the coffee pot has heated up, and we're drawing about 165 watts. Now let's make ourselves a cup of coffee. Okay, so the coffee pot settled down, and we are dropping in our wattage right here. Coffee pot test worked really good, and everything else is still charging. Let's plug in the cooler at the same time and get it running. Phone is still charging, Osmo Mobile still charging, fan's still running, coffee pot is plugged in. Let's go ahead and plug in our cooler. Turn the power on. And we do have power running to our 12-volt adapter. And the cooler is on. And we set it on max mode. And we've turned the temperature down to 0 degrees. So let's see how long and if our power station continues to run. Alright, so it's been about an hour and a half. And the Osmo is charged. The phone is still going. And our fan is still running. And we are sitting at 4 degrees on our cooler. So what I would like to do is unplug the cooler and hook up the AC adapter, put it into our kilowatt, and just see how much power the 12-volt cooler is actually pulling. And hey, that's almost cooled down. Alright, so I have the AC adapter in for our cooler, and I have my 12-volt supply. We're plugged into the cooler and hooked into our AC, and currently we are drawing about 33 watts. And for our amps, geez, about a half an amp. So it's doing pretty good. And we're still not down to temperature. And our compressor is still running. So I think our test here is a success. So our cooler is still running, and our USB for the Osmo and our phone have completed their charge, and it automatically shuts off, thereby saving a little bit of battery power. Alright, I have one more test that I would like to run, and we'll see how well this portable power station handles it. So the last test I want to do, I have a Kenmore chest freezer. It's a 7 cubic foot. I haven't turned this thing on in a couple years, and it'll be interesting to see if this little 1000-watt unit will handle it. So it's about a 5 amp unit, 115 volts, yada yada yada. So let's turn this unit on, hook up our power, and just see what kind of power it'll pull, and if this power station will handle it. So we'll go ahead and turn it on. Turn our AC power on. Alright, we are locked and loaded. So we're going to go ahead and hook up our kilowatt and just see if this thing will kick start or if it shuts down. Looks like it's pulling about 175 watts. Amperage is 1.62. It's not too bad. Volts, obviously around 110, 196. Very good. So we're going to go ahead and let that run for about an hour. We'll come back, we'll see if the unit is still on, and whether or not we got some coolness going on. Alright, it's been an hour and 15 minutes, and the freezer is shut off, and I'm still showing about 4 bars on this power station. So this test was pretty good, surprised me. I figured once it powered up this wasn't going to be able to handle it and shut off, but wow, I'm impressed. Alright, so here's my takeaway on the Okmo G1000. So far I'm impressed with the little power station. It performed just as it said it would, and yeah, powered everything that I would typically use in a power outage. It would power my lights, it would charge my camera equipment, charge my phones, laptops, it would power my coffee maker, which is a must, and also powered my chest freezer, which I thought would shut her down. But that hung in there really well. Like I said, about the only thing that I would say is lacking is the digital readout doesn't have a readout for how much power is going out or how much power is going in. But that little sacrifice for the price point, I think, is something I could live with. So it's a good unit, and we're going to put it through some tests throughout the remainder of its life, and hopefully it performs for years to come. Only time will tell. Okmo 1000 watt portable power station. It's got my thumbs up.